He cheated and thought he got away with it. Mark stared at the text on his phone, a smirk curling across his lips. He had convinced himself that no one would ever find out about his secret, his betrayal hidden neatly behind lies and late-night excuses. But as the screen glowed in the dark, a single notification appeared: "We need to talk. Now." His stomach dropped and a cold sweat formed on his forehead. He had been so careful, so sly, yet here it was, the unraveling beginning, and he knew deep down he had miscalculated. Someone new. Someone who mattered. Mark's mind raced. He remembered every step of his plan, how he had lied to Emily, his girlfriend of 3 years, claiming long work hours and late-night meetings while sneaking around behind her back. How he had deleted messages, created fake alibis, and even pretended to be a caring boyfriend when in reality he had been reckless, selfish, and careless with someone's heart. He thought he was untouchable, that no one could ever see through his carefully built web of lies. But now that illusion was crumbling. The doorbell rang. Mark froze. Emily's voice followed seconds later, trembling, sharp. "Mark, we need to talk. Now." He swallowed hard. There was no turning back. Earlier that week, Mark had been so confident. On Monday he had texted Emily, pretending to be stuck in traffic when he was actually at a fancy restaurant with someone else. On Tuesday he promised her flowers he never bought, claiming he had been caught up in meetings that didn't exist. On Wednesday he smiled at her face, told her he loved her, and yet, every lie tightened the chain that would eventually trap him. And now, all of it had collapsed into this moment, standing at his apartment door, heart hammering. Flashback to a less extreme event. A week ago, Mark had been joking with his friends about how easy it was to get away with cheating. "Emily will never know," he laughed, clinking his beer against theirs. But the joke, meant to make him feel clever, now echoed in his mind like a warning he had ignored. Mark's phone buzzed again, a photo message. His eyes widened in horror. It was a picture of him, caught in the act, taken without his knowledge. Someone had been watching. Someone he trusted. Panic clawed at him. His confidence, his smugness dissolved instantly. He opened the door to see Emily standing in the hallway, eyes red but unwavering. She held out her hand, trembling, with a folder of printed messages, photos, and evidence of every lie he had told. "I trusted you," she whispered, her voice breaking, "and you threw it away." Mark's mind scrambled. He wanted to deny it, to explain, to make her see that it was a mistake, but even he couldn't weave a lie strong enough to cover this. He realized, with a sinking feeling, that he had underestimated her. He had thought she would never find out. He had been wrong. And just as he was about to speak, a knock came from the neighbor's apartment across the hall. A voice called out, "Emily, you need to see this." Mark's heart jumped. What else could go wrong? Before he could process, the neighbor pushed a small tablet into Emily's hand. On it, a live video played, a hidden camera capturing everything Mark had done over the last month. Every lie, every secret, every betrayal laid bare in high-definition clarity. Mark staggered back, the apartment spinning around him. Mark's world had collapsed in an instant. The live video showing his every betrayal played on Emily's tablet like a dam bursting. He could barely breathe. His lies, once so carefully hidden, were now exposed to her, the neighbors, and anyone else who might see. He had always thought cheating was harmless if you didn't get caught, but now he realized how wrong he had been. Emily's hands shook as she held the tablet, her voice cold but steady. "Mark, I trusted you with my heart. And you threw it away for what? A few lies, a few stolen moments?" Mark opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. There was no excuse that could undo what had been done. Earlier that week, he had tried to convince himself that everything was fine. He had gone to work, laughed with his co-workers, and even called Emily to say he loved her, as if nothing was wrong. But now, with the video evidence glaring at him, he realized how shallow his happiness had been. It had been built on deceit, and the foundation had crumbled. Emily took a step back, tears welling up. "I don't know if I can forgive you," she said. "I don't know if I even want to try." Mark's chest tightened. He had imagined that she might be angry for a day or two, but never like this, never this final, this severe. Mark's phone buzzed. A message from someone he had trusted popped up. "We told you not to mess with her. Now deal with it." His stomach sank further. It wasn't just Emily who knew. Others had been watching, and his reputation was about to be ruined. He had thought he was untouchable. He was wrong. He tried to remember the beginning, when it all started. How a simple flirtation at work had escalated into secret meetings, hidden texts, and stolen nights. How his small lies snowballed into something uncontrollable. Each choice he made, each deception he thought was harmless, had led him to this terrifying peak. And now there was no going back. Emily lowered the tablet, her eyes locking onto his. Mark, you need to understand something. Trust isn't just given, it's earned. And you destroyed mine. You cheated and thought you got away with it. But you were wrong. You never will again. Do you understand that? Mark nodded weakly. He did understand. Every lie, every betrayal, every selfish act had come back to him like a storm he couldn't escape. And worse, he realized he had to face not just Emily's heartbreak, but the judgment of those who had once respected him. Just as he opened his mouth to apologize, a loud crash came from the apartment next door. The neighbors were gathered outside, murmuring, pointing toward Mark's door. Someone shouted, "Everyone saw what you did." Panic clawed at him. The weight of exposure pressed down, heavier than anything he had ever felt. Mark felt trapped, cornered by his own actions. His life, once orderly and confident, now seemed to unravel like thread in the wind. Every face he had trusted, every relationship he had taken for granted, now held the potential for judgment and rejection. He realized the consequences of betrayal were far worse than he had ever imagined. Before Mark could even begin to process what was happening, the front door burst open. A figure he didn't recognize stepped inside, holding a thick envelope. "Mark, this isn't just about Emily anymore," the stranger said. "Your actions have consequences that reach farther than you know. Open this." Mark's hands trembled as he took the envelope. He knew deep down that whatever was inside could change everything: his future, his relationships, and maybe even his freedom. And as the stranger's shadow loomed over him, Mark realized that the real reckoning had only just begun.